2 deliveries this stop. Chestnut Street. Used to be Millionaire's Row.
Hey, I thought you said I quit at 5. It's 2 minutes to right now.
Let's see. Gardenia Corsage to apartment 9F over there. And the long-lasting door badge to Miss Calliope, that house there. Maybe you can put in for overtime your first day.
What's a door badge?
It's a funeral wreath, boy. Miss Calliope gets a new one every month.
Every month? What for?
Says it keeps away peddlers and busybodies. It does, too. Almost 20 years I've been delivering door badges to Miss Calliope. Remarkable. Last of the wonderful people.
Sounds like...
Watch your language, boy. She'll read you.
What?
Right this minute, she's watching us through a hole in her shutters. She's deaf as a post, but she can read lips even this far. Got eyes like a hawk. Sees everything.
Nah, malarkey.
Malarkey. Not here. Well.
You ring, Miss Calliope? I'm busy, making shish kebab for dinner.
Are you using Cairo recipe from Shepherd's Hotel, Etta?
Like always. Everything except the wild grape leaves from the banks of the Nile. Those I still can't get.
No matter. I think I'll have a small glass of arak with it. Oh, Etta, answer the door, will you please? The men are delivering the new badge.
Well, there's no one at the door, Miss Calliope.
Yes, and Etta, ask the young man who's delivering it if he will please define the word malarkey.
Bang, bang! Hit him, kids! Hit him! Analyze him!
Hey, spaceman.
That for?
What'd you say?
What'd you do that for?
Look, asteroid hunter. For one night, can I be spared this, please? I've got a lot of work here I brought home from the office. And the sound of blasting rockets is hardly conducive to thought.
But, Dad, I gotta watch Captain Audio.
You gotta? Why?
It's part of my habit pattern. If I'm deprived of it, I'll get a complex. I'll grow up to be a juvenile delinquent.
Oh, well, heaven forbid that I contribute to the delinquency of a minor. But nevertheless...
It'll be over in 5 minutes. Look, there's the mad doctor, and he's got Captain Audio's girl. Bang, 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 bang. I'll absolutely, positively kill myself if... Oh, hello, Daddy.
Hi. Mayhem in the living room, suicide in the kitchen. What sort of monsters have we spawned?
Normal ones. Through with your work already?
Through. I haven't even started.
Maybe it's just as well. You'll have to move your stuff into the bedroom shortly. A committee meeting there this evening, and they'll need the front room. It's a crisis.
What?
Just a few girls in school, Daddy. I'm chairwoman of the Junior High Character Development and Worthwhile Achievement Association.
Now, just a minute. It's bad enough that I have to wait until Captain Audio is through before I can start to work. Now you
But
want...
Daddy, this meeting is the most stupendously most. It positively is.
It's what? Oh, never mind what it is. Now, look here, Susan. The deal was when we moved to a larger apartment and had 2 bedrooms that she was to do all her entertaining in her own bedroom.
Well, that's right, dear, but...
Father, you don't understand. These girls are the biggest women on the campus.
Now, look here. Since when do high schools have big women in campuses? Susan.
Debbie's bedroom is kind of small, dear.
I die of embarrassment. That's what I do.
Well, nevertheless, I'm going to put my foot down. You're supposed to do your own entertaining
Please, Jerry. Maybe just this once, huh?
Oh, the other girls have their own homes to entertain in.
Well, we haven't. And besides, I've got work to do. And I'm not going to be deprived of my constitutional rights by a bunch of giggling schoolgirls, and that's final. I thought when we got a bigger apartment, 2 bedrooms and a bigger living room, our troubles would be over. But look at me, trapped in my own boudoir.
I know a lovely cliche that applies here.
Woman, if you say I told you so, I'll stab you with this dull pencil.
Still, Jerry, let's face it. An apartment, no matter how big, has its limitations.
With our little monsters, Grand Central Station would have its limitations.
Oh, I think we'd be quite comfortable in a 3-bedroom house with maybe 2 baths and a recreation room.
Oh, sure. I'll buy one on my lunch hour tomorrow. Look, Susan, a home is out of the question right now. We've been over it 1,000 times.
1,001. But other people who have no more than we have buy homes.
But we're not other people. We're us. A home is a major investment. Well, the kind we need is anyhow. And things are just too insecure for me to even think about it. Besides, from what I heard, building a house is just one complication after another. I haven't got the time. Wasn't that the doorbell?
I didn't hear anything. You know, Jerry, I could browbeat the contractors or whatever it is has to be done. For a real home, I think I'd do almost anything. Look what Lady Godiva did.
Yeah, that was to reduce taxes.
And, Mrs. Strata. Wasn't she the one who locked the bedroom door against her husband?
Lisa Strata, that was to stop a war. Hey, don't you go getting any ideas along that line.
As if I ever could.
Mother!
Oh. It's all right, dear. What do you want?
The most ghastly thing has happened. The Ambroses are here. All 6 of them in the front room. They've come to see our new apartment.
What about my work?
What about my girls from the junior high character development and worthwhile achievement group?
Now, both of you relax. We'll manage some way. Jerry, you go take care of the Ambroses. And, honey, I think you better bring your little friends in here. Now, let's see.
I'll kill myself. I'll positively, absolutely kill myself.
Yes, dear.
Oh, thank you.
Grover Cleveland. Of course. Yes, Miss Calliope. I was just fixing to go out.
That's good, Edda. As long as we have no telephone, I want you to take a message for me to Mr. Carruthers.
You mean the manager of the apartment next door?
That's right. I want you to tell him from me that the first thing tomorrow morning, he's to serve notice on the Mitchell family in apartment A7. I want them evicted.
What? Miss Calliope, you don't mean that.
And tell him that if Mrs. Mitchell has any questions, and I'm sure she will have, ask her to call on me.
I don't believe it.
True, Mrs. Mitchell. I might have chosen a more conventional method by inviting you to visit me. But if I had, I doubt if you would have come with such alacrity. On the other hand, my observations showed you to be a young woman of spirit. So I knew the eviction notice would bring you running.
You seem to have observed a great deal about us, and yet you say you haven't left the house in years.
Physically, no. Would it please you, my dear, to learn that you're the first visitor I've had in a long, long time?
Well, really, under the circumstances,
Naturally. And I am going to evict you. It was something that Mr. Cleveland said a long time ago, in this very room. It gave me the idea. Do you know who he was?
Yes, he was President of the United States, wasn't he?
Well, that was later. He was a friend of my family's, a great deal older than I, of course. I was only 18 at that time. But I've never forgotten something that he said, standing right here. It was after my father had this house built, and Mr. Cleveland admired it tremendously. And he said, no investment on earth is so safe, so sure, so certain to enrich its owner as a home. No truer words were ever spoken, Susan.
Why, you know my first name.
I know a great deal about you, my dear. Specifically, I know that you and your husband and those two adorable children don't belong in that cramped little apartment. So I'm evicting you. You need a home.
Of course we need a home. I've wanted one for years, but evicting us is no solution. Well, I don't really see what business it is of yours anyway.
I'm quite deaf, you know, and unless I'm looking at your lips, I can't tell what you're saying. You need a home, Susan. And now you're forced to buy one, aren't you? Unless, of course, you're foolish enough to move into another apartment, and I don't think you'll do that.
I'm beginning to think you're nothing but a meddling old busybody.
Confidentially, Susan? Yes, Edda?
Oh, tea, Miss Calliope.
Of course. Just put it here. See, you included an extra cup for Mr. Hamilton.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Never thought I'd see the day. Two strangers at once, guests in this house.
Well, John Hamilton is hardly a stranger. His grandfather built this house for my parents, and now he's a builder. So I asked him to come here so you can start immediately doing whatever is necessary to get a home.
But you don't understand. We're in no position to build.
Susan, for that, I have only one word. Malarkey. Which makes me a meddling old busybody, I suppose, John.
Well, your methods are direct, Miss Calliope, if nothing else. How do you feel about this, Mrs. Mitchell?
Well,
Miss Calliope does have a point, though. A growing family like yours does need a real home.
of course we should. But I've told you, my husband, Jerry, feels we can't afford one right now, and besides, he's afraid it's too much of a project for us.
Naturally. Those are the two main objections that we hear today. Actually, there was a time when they did hold water. Say when Miss Calliope here was younger.
Nothing could hold water that long.
Still, what was true then isn't true at all nowadays. Today, any family, and I mean any family with a regular income, can buy a first-class modern home without any trouble at all. And in the long run, it won't cost them any more than rent. Maybe you've noticed how much new home building has been going on everywhere. That's because people have found out that they don't have to put up with second-class living, even though they haven't got a first-class income.
Like us.
Anybody can have a good home today because we've found out how to build good homes with all the conveniences. Homes that 20 years ago would have cost a fortune, but that today you can get for almost anything you want to spend. Look here. I've got some pictures here of homes that are typical of the kind of places that I think good builders are putting up by the thousands everywhere. Homes that are architect designed, and they're built for living, not just existing. Here's one. It's a reasonably priced 3-bedroom ranch type with a carport. Now, you'll see a lot of these in the South and the West. And here's another along the same lines, but it's built for the more rugged climates. And the smaller homes can have just as many conveniences and what we used to call luxuries as the bigger ones. Now, what I want to point out is that today, homes are not just boxes fastened together the way they used to be. They're designed, they're planned, they're engineered to make living easier, more comfortable, more graceful, if I may use the term. Practically all of them are built to fit the people who are going to use them. Actually, if we had built, or been able to build, any one of these houses with all their wonderful features 30 years ago, it would have cost $1 million. Today, of course, in a manner of speaking, anyone can own $1 million castle.
You're a master of hyperbole, John. But if what you say is true, and I'm sure it is, why is it everyone doesn't have his own home?
Why, Miss Calliope? Because so many people are like the Mitchells, or anyway, Mr. Mitchell. They think it'll cost too much. They're afraid of the idea, when all they have to do is to look up a good builder and leave the rest to him. No trouble.
Meaning someone like you.
Meaning any builder with a good reputation.
All of this sounds wonderful, but it doesn't solve our problem. Why, Jerry wouldn't hear of it.
Even when you're evicted?
Oh, no, Mrs. Mitchell, the way I see it is that if you could get your husband to look at one of the new model homes around town and let him hear how easy it is to build a new home these days, I think he'd see the light.
Then, of course, there's always the Lysistrata technique. Remember?
But how could you know about... Why, Jerry and I were talking about that only last night. Well, I suppose it's a last resort. A very last resort.
I think you'll manage it all right. When can you show them a home, John?
Oh, almost any time. How about tomorrow afternoon?
Well, it'll take some doing. But I'll find out. Tonight.
Good for you, Susan. They'll go. And you know, John, I believe I'll join you.
Good.
Suddenly, I'm tired of being a museum piece. To paraphrase a saying, after an existence of nearly 40 years of innocuous desuetude, I want out. Why are we stopping here?
I wanted to show you a house under construction first, so that you'd know that nowadays it's not only what you see in a finished house that counts. Sometimes it's what you don't see. Come on, and I'll show you what I mean. Now, this is what we call insulating sheathing. These insulation boards made out of wood fiber are unusually strong. I'm using them in every house I build. For the roof, we're putting on shingles the like of which builders never saw not so many years ago. They look like old-fashioned hand-split wood shingles, but they're really asphalt. They're tough, long-lasting, and you can get them in any color or design you like. Some people are even going in for pastels right now.
I've always wanted a house with a pink roof.
And a bright green mortgage.
Better a pink roof and a green mortgage than sitting out on the street, young man. Remember, I'm evicting you.
We use a lot more metal in building. Those are aluminum rain gutters and downspouts. They don't corrode. We use aluminum for flashing, for window sills and door frames, weather stripping, for hardware and railing, and dozens of other things. We even use some aluminum paint and aluminum nails. In the old days, before we had these new materials, we couldn't have built a house like this at 10 times the price. Now, as I was telling your wife yesterday, anybody can live like a millionaire.
Before taxes.
After taxes. Come on, let's go inside. This is another kind of new material that makes better homes for less money. It's virtually crack-proof, and it has an insulating aluminum foil backing. We seal the sections together with a special kind of tape and cement. You could almost say we weld them together. Then we cover the entire surface with a new kind of scrubbable rubber base paint. The combination of all those things make what we call a vapor barrier. Good insulation and a strong, impervious, seamless surface that is perfectly decorated.
That's nice. Translation, please.
It's a real good wall, Mrs. Mitchell.
Thank you.
I'm sorry if I used builder's gobbledygook, but from your standpoint, what I'm talking about is comfort. We insulate houses now from top to bottom. For instance, this is fiberglass. We're using it to insulate the roof of this home. It's the same kind of insulation used in some refrigerators. It's fireproof, it won't rot, and termites hate it.
Sounds like living in a beautiful thermos bottle.
Not quite. I think we'd better get over to one of the new houses. Watch your step, Miss Calliope.
John?
I said watch your step.
I always have, John. Probably that's why I'm still Miss Calliope.
Well, this is it. One of our new model homes. Completely furnished, ready to live in.
Oh, Jerry, it's a dream.
I'm afraid that's all it ever can be for us.
Maybe not. Come on, I'll prove it to you. Now you'll see.
Oh, look, Jerry. 2 doorknobs.
You like that? You'll notice as we go through the house that all the lock sets are very handsome. We try to make even the smallest detail in the house something to be proud of. Come in.
Oh. Oh, it's beautiful.
It's charming.
Open living, we call it. That's a new trick we learned. You can have a fireplace any place you want it nowadays. You can even have it in the middle of the room if you like. This one has an aluminum hood. Does it work? Sure it works. Not that you'll need it, of course. This place is completely air-conditioned year-round.
Mr. Hamilton, I'm afraid we're not in the bracket that can afford this air conditioning.
You might think that, yet you, of all people, can't afford not to have air conditioning. With 2 growing children, the health protection features alone make it worthwhile. For instance, this place in winter is air-conditioned in an entirely new way. Let me show it to you. Ladies, I think this might interest you. The hot air from the furnace is cleaned and filtered and passes into a hidden mixing chamber behind the wall about here. At the same time, the air from the room is pulled through here. Let me demonstrate. As a result, the temperature at the floor is almost always the same as the temperature at the ceiling. And you've got a good, clean, comfortable, healthy climate to live in, no matter what it's doing outside. And this door closer keeps the outside out.
Dear me, in my day, everyone expected to have a cold. It was normal, just like heat prostration in the summertime.
Miss Calliope, the way you talk, anyone would think that we had rehearsed this. But it's true. This place has built-in summer air conditioning that uses a hermetically sealed circuit, just like a refrigerator. Pick your climate as you like it. You feel better, you're healthier, happier, and poorer. Not at all. You're richer in every way, and you can afford it, Mr. Mitchell. Believe me, because today anybody can. Why? It's getting so that a home without heating and cooling air conditioning is as old-fashioned as...
My shutters, eh, John? What's that light up there?
That's part of the light conditioning system. Nowadays, homes are light conditioned, too. You see, we found out that each room needs two kinds of lighting. General lighting for the overall effect and specific lighting for reading, writing, sewing, or whatever. Every lamp is selected and placed to give the proper light for its purpose. Just so many inches high, just exactly the right number of foot candles needed for its purpose, and so many inches away from the book or magazine you happen to be reading. It makes reading easier, more comfortable, and you won't find any too dark spots or any too light spots anywhere. Quite a thing, eh?
It's unbelievable. Just lovely.
It's unbelievable, all right, for people with our bankroll.
I was saving that surprise for later.
I'll bet.
Mm-hmm.
John?
Yes.
May we see the dining room?
Of course. Come right in. Although this is now furnished as a dining room, it's really an extension of the living room, as you can see. It's an all-purpose area. We call it the keeping room.
Keeping room?
Yes. Some people keep it for television, some people keep it for study. But I think that you're going to do most of your eating right in here. It's part of the kitchen, and yet you see it's part of the rest of the house, too. That's more of that open living idea that I mentioned. Of course, you can shut it off if you want.
No, I'd never shut it off. Oh, Jerry, what a kitchen.
Shall we? This is just one of many layouts and designs that kitchen specialists have made so that you get the most in convenience, efficiency, and beauty. Actually, this one is made up of 3 work centers. Over there, for instance, is the preparation center, where you prepare food. That includes the refrigerator, work surface, and storage space. Then, this section here is called the cleaning center. It's planned around the sink and automatic dishwasher, with work counters and cabinets in easy reach. Now, finally, here is the cooking center, built around the electric range, with storage space for cooking utensils and serving dishes. And it's near the place where you'll serve the food to save steps. They're all carefully laid out and outfitted, right down to the plumbing fixtures, wall cabinets, portable appliances, and special gadgets.
My, I wish my Edda could see this. She's been complaining for years about my kitchen, calls it her dungeon.
You should see the telephone booth I have to cook in.
I have. Remember, I own it.
Well, all I can say is I'll never be happy until I have one just like this.
Susan, I think it's all very nice, too, but I still say that we can't afford it. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right, Mr. Mitchell. One of our other guests must have left that there. There's more in the refrigerator if anybody wants some.
Look. Anybody want a Coke?
I'm glad you did it anyway, Miss Mitchell. Gives me a chance to show off this plastic surface here. It has almost a miraculous resistance to stains and wear, fruit acids, alcohol, burning cigarettes. Even boiling water won't hurt it. We use it here in the bathrooms, on tabletops, and dozens of other places around the house. Fits in with the color scheme, too. You can get it in almost any color, and it's easy to keep clean. This floor is a cinch to keep clean, too. It's got the old-fashioned floors beat 40 ways. This inlaid linoleum pattern is called jackstraw, and we use it here because it makes the room look larger. You'll see how we've paid attention to which floor goes where as we go through the rest of the house. Follow me. Oh, just a moment. Fully automatic laundry, right here, next to the kitchen.
Bless you, Mr. Hamilton. If you knew the hours I'd spent over a hot tub.
Yeah, well, of course, with this, you could take in laundry as a sideline. Sort of help pay for the house.
It's a deal.
I don't think you'll need any help, Mr. Mitchell. The cost of all these appliances is included in the mortgage, so you haven't got a thing to worry about.
Fine. Then you can keep me in the style to which I'd like to become accustomed, sweetie.
Well, let's get along to the bedrooms. There are 3 of them, one for each of your children, and a master bedroom for Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell.
All of them with locks on them?
Oh, yes, that's right. Of course, they have what is called single key convenience. That is, one master key will open every lock in the house.
What do you think of that, Estrada?
I think it's fine. After we get a house like this one.
Of course, the bathrooms have special locks, so they can be opened from the outside in case anyone gets trapped inside, as children so often do. Well, bring along your drink, Mrs. Mitchell, and we'll see a bedroom that's just right for your son. This is planned especially for a growing boy. It's light and airy, and it has plenty of storage and closet space. And like all the rooms in the house, it's color planned and light conditioned. And it has some special gimmicks that a boy ought to like. For instance, this pull-out shoe shining rack. Actually, every bedroom in houses that good builders plan nowadays has special features for whoever is going to use it. Now, you come along into the master bedroom, and I'll show you what I mean. Here, you've got plenty of window space. On the side nearest your neighbors, the window is shoulder high for privacy. And, of course, lots of closet space for you, Mrs. Mitchell. And, believe it or not, a special closet for you, Mr. Mitchell, with attachments designed for the exclusive use of a man only.
Wow. The male member finally gets a break. This I like.
What I think you like most is the fact that this place has 2 bathrooms.
Good gosh, yes. The traffic around our wash basin is enough to drive a man crazy. Nylons and things all over the room.
Well, the master bathroom here has 2 wash basins. But I don't know of anything that'll prevent a woman from hanging nylons and things almost anywhere she pleases. Now, in here, this one, you can see, is done in sea green beauty wear fixtures. All very easy to keep clean, and they never get spotted. The walls are a stipple tone pattern, the same plastic material that was used in the kitchen countertops. The bathtub has a safety bottom with ridges to keep you from slipping.
Oh.
Now, the second bathroom. It's called the guest bathroom, but I expect you'll turn it over to your children. It has a built-in shower, and all the fixtures are coral beauty wear. We put 2 doors into this one, as you see. This door leads to your daughter's bedroom, Mrs. Mitchell. Our daughter's bedroom. Now you're taking a lot for granted.
Merely a figure of speech. But really, Miss Mitchell, this room was planned for a growing girl. It's big enough to be used as a little living room, and I know from experience that young daughters like privacy and a place of their own.
Where they can entertain members of the junior high character development and worthwhile achievement group, for instance?
You're so right. Well, anyway, it was planned and decorated in light condition for a young lady. Or, when necessary, it can be used as a guest room, since it's right next to the second bath.
Well, this would take care of Debbie when I'm trying to work, but what are we going to do with the other little monster?
Well, maybe there's a padded cell somewhere. Is there, Mr. Hamilton?
No, but I think I know what your problem is. And I believe we've got the answer. Come along into the garage. It could be padded, I suppose. But as it is, even with your car in it, it makes a fine recreation room. The floor is covered with vinyl asbestos tile. It's easy to keep clean and it's very durable. We've even put in a shuffleboard court. Oh, and by the way, over here, though you'd hardly know it, is your heating equipment. Handy, but out of the way. As I told you before, the cooling air conditioning circuit is completely hermetically sealed. That means you never have to worry about leakage. And you get a 5-year guarantee. Yes, that's a radio-controlled door, Mr. Mitchell. All you have to do is push a button in your car and the door opens and closes automatically. Oh, Mrs. Mitchell. Plenty of storage space up here with folding aluminum sticks.
Oh, it's so complete. Everything is just... Oh, Miss Calliope, we just have to have a house like this one.
But, child, you'll have to speak louder.
I said we just have to have a house just like this one.
Mr. Hamilton, I'd now like to have a few hundred words with you, alone.
Come on, Susan. I want to see that living room again.
Jerry, most people are surprised when they find out how easy it is to own a home now compared with what it used to be. Fact is, everything is loaded in favor of the home buyer these days. Take title protection. You know, when you buy a home, you buy title to the land. Now, that might be good or bad. The people who lend you the money protect themselves. They get an abstract of title or title insurance, or both. But that doesn't completely protect you. So, by the same token, now, you can get protection with an owner title policy. It's kind of insurance policy. So that if anything happens to the title, the insuring company makes it good according to the terms of their policy. It takes the title risks out for you.
And costs more money.
Oh, darn little. Jerry, it doesn't pay to be penny wise at any time. It's like fire insurance or insurance on your car. Protection.
They've been an awfully long time.
Did you speak, Susan? I have to see your lips, you know, or use this. I'm beginning to realize how very archaic I am. Seeing this house and the way people, real people, live, I feel like an Egyptian mummy.
Why, you're one of the most vital people I've ever known.
Oh, thank you, dear. But I suddenly understand how much I've been missing all these years. It's wonderful, but it's frightening, too. Susan, do you think it's too late for an old museum piece like me to...
Of course not. not, Miss Calliope. Of course not.
A little house for Edda and me, without shutters. But it takes a long time to build a house now, doesn't it? And at my age, time is of the essence. And I've almost run out of essence.
You know, you certainly cover a lot of territory. Come on, let's tell Susan and that wonderful old meddler, Miss Calliope.
To the mother.
Thank goodness for that.
Honey, what do you want this? It's kitchen stuff.
Oh,
I got my chemistry set in skates and a lot of important secret stuff in there.
oh, put them anywhere, men. Mama is bushed.
Me too.
Oh, thank you, partner.
You know, I knew there'd be some kind of a catch to us getting a new house. Well, you were right about it not being any trouble to build. But look at all the work we have to go through to move.
Well, it's for the last time in our lives, dear, I hope. So relax.
Still.
Thanks. Tomorrow it'll be all over. A home of our own. A brand new, beautiful, wonderful, love castle of our own. Oh, say, there's one thing more we have to do tonight. You go and wash up and change your clothes. We've got to go over and say goodbye to Miss Calliope.
Oh, no, Susan. No, not tonight.
Tonight. Besides, I'm curious about what she's been doing lately. Do you know she's been leaving her house nearly every day? And yesterday there were two strange men working on something in her carriage house. I heard a lot of hammering and things.
Probably putting up some iron shutters with stainless steel peepholes.
Now, Jerry.
I'm sorry. I love the old gal, too. Sure, we'll go over and say goodbye. Where did you put my shaving soap? Looks like a branch of the Metropolitan Museum. Say, who's the beautiful babe?
Honey, don't be coarse. That's Miss Calliope when she was 18.
Miss Calliope.
Jerry. But do you know, there's something strange going on here. Did you notice that her door badge outside is gone? And when we came in, Edda whispered to me.
Susan, Jerry, good evening.
Why, Miss Calliope, what have you done to yourself?
I know, and don't yell. I'm wired for sound. What took you so long? I've been waiting for you nearly an hour.
You expected us?
Of course. And young man, you were mistaken about my getting iron shutters. The workmen in the carriage house were fixing my car.
Your car?
Yes, it's been standing there for over 30 years, and I had quite a time getting it to run. But it'll do temporarily until I get a new one. Come along. I have a big surprise for you.
Experienced it, I wouldn't believe it. A 40-year-old electric, and it runs like top. And you drove real good, too.
Thank you. If you'll pardon an expression, there's life in both us old girls yet. Well, there it is. All mine. A real home. This is the patio. And windows. Lots of windows. That's my kitchen, and this is my dining room.
Why, it's delightful.
Come on, children. At my age, there isn't any time to waste. I wanted a new house in a hurry, and this is it. Prefabricated, just like a mobile or a washing machine. And it's plenty big for Ed and me. Complete, very complete. And it's air-conditioned, too.
Oh, I know you're going to be very happy here.
The bedrooms are off here. See the windows? No shutters.
Sure you're not going to miss those shutters? You know, looking into people's lives.
Oh, well, as far as that goes, there's a huge apartment building on a hill about a mile away, and I can see it perfectly from my living room window.
Well, that's a little far to read lips.
On to the living room.
Oh, it's beautiful.
For 35 years, I shut myself away from the world and thought I could be happy, just peeping through my shutters and watching life go by without being a part of it. But when at last I went out for the first time and saw what a home could really be, well, I'm not so fool that I didn't realize what I was missing. It's a little late, but better late than never.
Folks, that's the story of today's $1 million. It's proof that you can stop dreaming about your new and actually move in. For further information on new homes and home financing, contact your nearest home builder or your local Home Builders Association.
My name's Tanner, Jim Tanner. Here I am with my wife, Jean. I'm a builder. I went into business with my dad when I got back from the war, and we did all right until Dad died. Hasn't been easy to fill his shoes, but I've done my best. I've managed to keep ahead by trying out new ideas and methods. Of course, I like to be shown that something's going to work before I try it. And being from St. Louis, I guess that's why people just naturally call me Man from Missouri. When we started this vacation trip back east, I promised Jeannie we'd relax if she came along. So we've been taking our time, driving off on side roads, loafing through the countryside.
I'm glad Jim and I are having some time together. Seems like he's just a slave to his work. And I'm proud of the way he took over when Dad Tanner died. But it's good to have him away from the business. There's nothing like a vacation in the fall.
Everywhere I go, I like to take pictures of outstanding homes. I love to look at houses, both old and new. Never can tell when I'll learn something useful.
Jim, do you think we'll have time to see Washington's camp while we're at Valley Forge?
You bet, Jeannie. We'll take time.
There's the turnoff now.
I'm looking forward to seeing that new McClatchy project while we're here. They're one of the largest building firms in the country. Frank McClatchy said he'd meet me there. Let's see now. That exhibit home ought to be here somewhere. Here we are, Glen Hardy Farm. This is a nice neighborhood. Mighty trim-looking homes. I like the fieldstone and clapboard exteriors.
Look, this'll just take a minute, honey.
Okay, but don't take too long. Remember, we want to see Valley Forge.
You bet.
Now to take a look. Say, that's something new for a house in the $30,000 price range. Asbestos siding. It's nice texture. Solid, too. I like that shadow effect. Sure improves the appearance. Here's Frank McClatchy, the builder. His family have been building homes around Philadelphia for generations. I knew I'd learn something here. About that asbestos siding, they use shingle backer board to give that shadow line effect. Frank tells me they used to have a terrific problem with siding. Paint peeling, shrinkage, discoloration, and rising costs. So they decided to give asbestos siding a try.
Mr. McClatchy, when did you first switch to asbestos cement siding?
Oh, we've been using it for quite some time, Mr. Tanner.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Right here on Glen Hardy.
Oh, yes,
In
on Glen Hardy,
Farm.
on our other developments as well.
I see. Well, has it worked out the way you expected it to?
Well, Mr. Tanner, it's as simple as this. Ordering asbestos cement is the same as ordering steel. You decide what you want, and that's primarily what you get. Reliability and consistency are important in our business. And that's something here that we're able to get with this asbestos cement, and it's been very successful with our people. The same thing's true with the shadow line. That has been a tremendous factor with people that are buying houses in this community.
Might as well face it. Jim has a tendency to put business before pleasure. Come on, Jim. We've got to get to Valley Forge. This is more like it. A whole happy sunlit autumn afternoon with my handsome husband. Of course, we take time to see Washington's headquarters. It's a beautiful fieldstone building. No trouble appealing to Jim on that. And a builder's wife can be proud to have her picture taken on the Valley Forge campgrounds. Even if the construction isn't very fancy, these soldiers' huts are built on hallowed ground. We're doing all right. This still gives us plenty of time to reach Philadelphia and see Independence Hall before nightfall. I hope.
Here we are. This is a development Frank McClatchy told me about. I got so interested in the modern look of that asbestos siding, he suggested I see how the large sheets look when used for sidewalls on modern homes. This board and batten construction gives a pleasant architectural effect and covers the joints as well. Of course, varying the color makes any development more attractive to buyers. I don't know why Jeannie should fret so. We're right on schedule. Valley Forge and Philadelphia all in one afternoon. I'll grant it's kind of late in the afternoon, but there is a little sunshine on the top of Independence Hall. And there's even a little sunlight on the roof of the Betsy Ross house, a real gem of colonial architecture. Uh-oh. Seems to be closed. Oh, well, we'll get an early start tomorrow. We can have a day to ourselves in Atlantic City.
We got an early start, all right, but hardly do we get started before Jim begins to slow down. Here we go again.
Barclay Farm, that's it. Frank McClatchy told me not to miss Bob Scarborough's latest development. Bob told me to meet him at the green exhibit home called the Woodstock. He sure gives a friendly welcome for a busy builder. He has an interesting story to tell. This split-level colonial house features an exterior of brick and asbestos siding. It has no less than 4 large bedrooms, such as this master bedroom, and this one for children. And there's a large living room with a wood-burning fireplace. a family-sized dining room, and a spacious recreation room with adjoining powder room. It sure is a lot of house for the money. On all of the houses, the asbestos siding comes in a wide variety of pleasing colors and has the quality shadow line that adds to the sales appeal of these homes. And it's paid off. Bob has a large backlog of orders, and his first owners are already being offered premium prices for their homes.
Bob, can you give me some of your reasons for switching to asbestos siding?
Yes, I'd be glad to. We're very proud of the results we've just gained on this siding problem. You know, siding as we have faced it through the last 10 years has involved costs and maintenance and style. Now, we know that we're right cost-wise. Maintenance we've proven, and in style we have, as you can see, a shadow line and colors that are well accepted, very lively. And we're very proud of the result. We think we've solved our siding problem.
I sure have to hand it to Bob Scarborough. His homes are really beautiful. Well, that's about all the time he could give us. But I have to see one more of his homes, the Madison. This ranch house with 3 bedrooms is my idea of a good buy. Again, using brick and asbestos siding for its exterior sales appeal. Atlantic City at last. Can't wait to take Jeannie for a long stroll on the boardwalk. I just have that one call to make. Builder friend of Bob's by the name of Max Fink. He has a large development near here.
Well, Jim's off again, but I don't mind. That sea air. I feel as though I could walk for miles. Saltwater taffy. I haven't had any of that since Aunt Bessie sent us some when we were kids. Now to continue my stroll. I'll show that Jim Tanner I can relax if he can't.
Max Fink asked me to come right out. He looks rough and ready, and he's built hundreds of homes at prices people can afford.
I've been building houses in South Jersey for 15 or 16 years.
How big is your development here?
We have a 200-home development starting with $18,000 sales price.
How big are the houses?
There's 7 or 8 rooms, and in 200 homes, savings per unit means a whole lot, you know.
I know that. I noticed you've used a lot of asbestos cement siding. Has that saved you money?
Certainly has, very much. It has, asbestos has many benefits.
You've got it here in a lot of colors, too.
We have good color choice. It's termite-proof. It's fire-proof. You need not refinish it yearly. Saves on maintenance. And our people receive it very nicely.
Well, I noticed driving over here that the ocean's nearby. Don't you have trouble with salt air?
We have an unusual condition here with salt air, wind, and dampness, but it does not affect asbestos siding.
Well, you know, I've seen a lot of asbestos siding on my trip, but I've never seen anyone putting it up.
Oh, let me show you. Come over here.
All right, thank you.
Hi, Al.
Hi, Mr. Frank.
Jim, come here a minute. This is a shingle fiberboard. This is how we get our shadow line effect.
You use this under all the shingles?
We do, and it's mighty fine insulation, too. It has a good cushion effect also. Help you put this on. See how it works? Very attractive. People like it a lot. One of our best features.
Atlantic City is fun, but it would be more fun if Jim were along. I hope our stay in New York City is going to be different. At least, so Jim promised. New York is exciting, all right. The view from Rockefeller Center is spectacular. You can stare as long as you want and take all the pictures you want. I'm glad to know you can count on the Empire State Building to pose for pictures, even if that handsome husband of mine has deserted me again. But I got back at him for leaving me alone by buying some new hats on Fifth Avenue. I'll just take a peek at the library before I pick him up. He's out at some kind of a factory or test plant.
After talking with Max Fink, I decided to follow up on this new look in asbestos siding that the builders are so enthusiastic about. So, as soon as we reached Manhattan, I called on Chet Kelsey, executive manager of the Asbestos Cement Products Association. He turned out to be very helpful, gave me a lot of technical data and reference pamphlets. When I asked how the siding would hold up, he even drove me out to see some siding being tested.
Jim, this morning you've seen what this industry is doing in the field of research to make stronger and better siding. All this out here is what we call our test farm. We put up these panels, siding on them, and let the weather do its worst. How do they look to you?
They look fine. I don't see any termites either.
No, and you won't. You know, they don't touch these panels after they put them up. They want to find out exactly what's going to happen, and I think they prove that maintenance is down to zero in asbestos.
Well, I'm sure impressed.
Well, this isn't all. There's another panel over here I want you to see. Come on. This is that other panel, Jim, and here you see they've used the shingle backer as undercoursing to give that heavy shadow line. That's the modern way in which we apply asbestos siding. And aren't these colors attractive?
Oh, they certainly are. Say, Chet, I've been wondering, why don't more builders use asbestos siding? I mean, well, it makes sense to me now, but frankly, up to this trip, I always thought of asbestos as something that you used on low-cost homes. I guess I just never realized how attractive the new colors and textures and sizes can look on the better homes.
Well, the answer to that, Jim, is that more and more builders are using asbestos siding on their better homes. Frankly, in the past, we've had some problems. We had color limitations. We had the problem of the colors not being uniform, and we only had one size for every job. But all that's ancient history now. Architects today are specifying asbestos for their homes because the home buyer likes it. He likes the low first cost, he likes the low maintenance that there is, he likes the variety of colors, and he likes that architectural shadow line that he gets. Our industry has been fortunate too in that all of the manufacturers have worked together to constantly upgrade our products through research. We find that all along the line, manufacturing standards have been increased. And today's builder knows how to use asbestos. He knows how to handle it. He knows how to put it on to get the shadow effects. And more of them are building better houses with asbestos cement siding.
I really learned a lot on this trip, especially about asbestos siding. I'm going to use it on my better homes from now on.
Smart fellow, that Jim Tanner. He'll never regret switching to asbestos siding. You've just seen some beautiful examples of asbestos cement siding. I ought to know. I represent Old American, a firm that's done a lot of pioneering in building materials. Our manufacturing experience goes way back to 1886. We not only developed the first ready-to-lay asphalt roofing, we also developed the first asbestos cement product that was specifically designed for siding. But, like Jim Tanner, you probably have some questions. And probably the first one is, how much is it? So let's take a look at costs. Around the country, cost figures vary. It's hard to make a dollars and cents comparison, but we can compare cost elements. First, materials. Now, here we have bricks and mortar. Usually they run fairly high. For wood siding, there's the cost of the paint, primer, and finish coat, besides the cost of the wood. Then there's the cost of installation. We can show this with a hammer and nails in the case of asbestos siding, and it's about the same for wood, so we can show another hammer and nails here. But then there's the cost of the painters, represented by this paintbrush. For brick, add a trowel to show the usually higher paid labor of the brick masons. And that's about it. But don't let us put in the figures for you. Just fill in the blanks yourself. You'll find that asbestos siding installed is substantially lower in cost. Even adding the cost of undercoursing and the slight additional labor cost, you'll be pleasantly surprised to find that asbestos siding is still lower in cost. No need to call in the painters or the masons, just one trade installs it. So you save money and your customers get added value in the fireproofing, the insulation, and the built-in colors. And if you want to really impress your customers, just show them this comparison. say 8 years from now with normal weathering, brick and asbestos siding are as good as ever. But look what's happened to wood. Your customers will have had to call in the painters at least twice and buy 4 more coats of paint just to stay even. So for a cost comparison, sharpen up your pencils all you want, you'll find asbestos cement siding makes sense just about everywhere. Now let's take a close look at our autoclaved clapboard siding. Its authentic texture is a delight to the traditionalist, and modern engineering has designed it extra thick for extra strength and durability. Best news of all for the builder, it's 48 inches wide. Not 24, not 32, but 48 full inches. Less nailing, fewer pieces to handle. It doesn't take much figuring to see how this greater width will really speed application time and save you even more money. Perhaps the best feature of our autoclaved clapboard is the exposure, the narrow look that American homeowners have preferred since colonial days. Here's a wall made up of this old favorite in one of our modern trend colors. Autoclaving isn't just a name, it's an important industrial process. It means the same thing as pre-shrunk does on a shirt, but it's a lot more important on a house than on a shirt. You see this joint? It'll stay that way. All your dimensions will remain the same, not just for years, but forever. We pioneered another process you should mention to customers, Duroc processing. Makes the siding completely washable. See those beads? They prove there's no water absorption. Duroc locks color in, locks dirt out. The siding can be kept clean by occasional washing with a hose. Best of all, the Duroc surfacing is on to stay. It will last indefinitely. Speaking of colors, just look at this selection. Any builder can plan his whole development from these trend colors selected for popular appeal. For variety and distinction, we have several styles and a wide color selection. There's the autoclaved clapboard, the popular color text, and the high-styled vitramic with a built-in shadow line. And when we say these colors are built in, we mean it. The pigments are an integral part of the asbestos cement, pre-sized at the factory. You and your customers will never regret switching to asbestos cement siding. And when you do, remember these outstanding old American features. We're reliable. Our connection with the building industry goes back to 1886. We brought out the first asbestos cement siding. We patented the Duroc process for washability and sealing in the color. We have combined autoclaving for dimensional stability with integral color pigmentation and the 48-inch extra thick clapboard styles and a wide color selection. Seeing is believing. If you want to be shown, call your local old American salesman. He'll help you save money. Thanks a lot.
Goodness, Marilyn, you must have put a lot of effort into this.
Miss Hera, you'll just never know.
That's right. Miss Hexshaw probably never will know the whole story behind Marilyn's last assignment in English 2.
How's it coming, Lynn? So there I was at 20,000 feet.
Hey, what's this big treaty on, anyway?
Perhaps you mean treatise? Rather. Get this, Carol. What does the emancipation of American women mean to you?
Emancipation?
Yeah, liberation, etc. How about women's right to stand up on buses and streetcars? Then, how about the modern gal's right to go Dutch when her dreamboat's out of ready?
Oh, Betty, be serious. We have to help Marilyn. Due Monday, you said?
That's right, Carol.
I know. Women's right to vote. That's the biggest thing that's happened to women
Since Adam's apple. Carol, you sweet dumb thing. Pull up your flaps. You're dragging.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm having enough grief over this theme. There's only one thing I'm sure of. For Miss Heckshaw, it's got to be the modern approach. Say, let's look around the kitchen. Something about new freedom in our own home. Electricity, gas, mechanical servants, you know, something about, freedom from drudgery. Sort of like that. Oh, you mean like today we women have it easier than the pioneers?
Honestly, Carol.
Oh, my gosh. That's a terrific angle. Talk about emancipation. Take the family wash, for instance. No more clotheslines. No more dark basements. No more Blue Mondays. Boy, here's real emancipation from old-fashioned chores. Just set a dial and walk away. Well, that's the kind of emancipation any woman can understand. Well, what do you think of our complete home laundry as a subject for my theme?
Great for you, but what about the rest of us peasants?
What?
We don't got it. We don't happen to have anything like this at home.
Oh, well, just the same, it's still a good subject for... We neither. Ours is so old and rackety.
You mean rickety, Carol?
I mean you can hear it all over the house. Papa's so stubborn.
Stubborn? Men are plain inconsiderate. I just wish my father had to wash a few clothes instead of just getting them dirty.
Mine, too.
Emancipation. Fine. I could use a little.
Say, it might be crazy, but if it works, you'll have your emancipation and I'll still have a valid theme.
Talk sense.
I have a plan.
A plan?
Mm-hmm. It's 1,000 to 1, but it might work.
Then give.
Well, the whole trouble is your mother's.
Huh?
Well, they just don't understand men.
Then what am I doing here?
They're using the wrong approach. You've got to let your fathers sell themselves.
You mean so they'll think the whole thing is their idea?
Exactly.
But how?
This weekend, we get our mothers up to the lake. We let the men stay here.
And make sure they do the wash.
Right. And, Carol, you're elected to get Mr. Walligan on our side.
Mr. Walligan? Mr. Walligan, please.
If you'll just make sure that you have 2 complete laundries ready to deliver this Saturday.
2 complete laundries?
So, this weekend, you men can have that complete, uninterrupted cribbage game you're always talking about. Of course, you'll have to do Mother's washing while we're away.
Oh, no, Mother. Let Daddy do the wash while we're away.
But why, Marilyn?
Well, because you need a holiday. Golly, what took you so long? Where's Carol?
Right behind me.
Good. Hey!
You girls forget anything?
We sure hope not.
May it all come out in the wash.
You make lemonade, Jim? Must have been Marilyn. I found it in the refrigerator. By golly, this is it, you know. Oh, wait a minute, George. I'd like to make a toast. Sure, Charlie. Who to?
Jim, to whom?
Why, to our recently departed. Who else? Yes, sir, boys. Here's to our gang of little women. On a well-earned holiday. And a memorable weekend for us all. Snuff. Oh, excuse me, George. Go ahead. I'll be right back. This is not bad. Oh, jumpin' Jehoshaphat. What's wrong, Jim? Oh, I promised Nancy I'd finish the wash, but I didn't figure on anything like this. Yikes! Holy smoke! That reminds me, I promised to do the wash, too. So did I. Well, come on, George. We might as well get it over with. Now, wait a minute. You can do that tomorrow. What about the cribbage game? You kidding? With this on your hands? Oh, there's no bother. It's no trick to do the wash with this baby, and we can go right on playing cribbage. Automatic, huh? Oh, you betcha. Well, this is a real nice setup you got here, Jim. Oh, I don't know. Clara keeps harping on an automatic laundry. But look at you, Jim. What do you mean? Well, we men keep making it easier for women to do their work. And the next thing you know, we're doing it. Yes, I'll admit there's very little labor left for ladies these days. You're darn right. You take this washer here. I do. I mean the way it's designed so a child can run it. Speaking as an engineer. Well, what I mean is, you take the basic design. All you do is work out a system of pumps, and then you hook in some different valves, and then... Well, that's not precisely what Tom Walligan told me. George, look.
Well, of course, there's a lot Mr. Warren couldn't be expected to know. But to an established company in the home laundry business, how it's made is a point of engineering concern that goes back a long way. Some 53 years, in fact. Inelegant now, these washers met the need in their day. And they set a course of valuable engineering experience, a course leading inevitably to today's ingenious automatic washer. Even so, how do you go about designing a new automatic washer? Well, first of all, you begin some 8 years before you decide the machine is ready for homemakers. And you begin by checking with the ultimate user herself. The first request was for an automatic washer that would get clothes as clean as standard wringer models. That meant an agitator type. How to engineer this fine idea into an automatic washer with a spin basket was a problem yet to be solved. The second request was for a method of saving suds and hot water, something the engineers themselves had long thought about. But again, figuring out how to save and reuse hot suds in a compact automatic washer with a single tub was a stiff engineering challenge. The third request was for adaptability, an automatic washer that would still let a housewife do her washing the way she wanted to do it. That meant a flexible time and cycle system. To these three basic demands, the engineers added one of their own, an automatic washer so well balanced it wouldn't need bolting down. So armed with what would be right in an automatic washer, your lab men proceed to find out what's wrong with existing types. And then the fun begins. Most good ideas start out as problem children. It is the design engineer's job to make them adoptable. The engineer usually has a team of draftsmen to help him translate ideas into working parts. And with time and patience and trial after trial, one of your brain children at last becomes socially acceptable. You have a flexible timer. Another, the agitator, in time gets a superior twin. Again, after many tests and rejections, you finally come up with the agitator you want. one that does an even better job of washing clothes than originally requested. But here, in the Suds return system, you find an engineering challenge so typical it hurts. That of developing a simple, good idea into a good, simple design. Starting from scratch, the first exploratory attempt was crude. The engineers tried an electric motor, an automobile pump, and a siphon line into the washer tub. The first unit was manually operated through a separate switch, and the water returned through the top opening of the washer tub. No good. In time, a two-way valve development got rid of the siphon hose, but the new pump still hung on the side of the tub, still unsatisfactory. Then both motor and pump were hidden beneath the washer, and a new problem was born. In this position, the pump now required precisely a pint of priming water to start its Suds return action. A coffee can held just enough, but soon became a brightly painted, specially designed priming can. Eventually, the priming can became an aluminum derby hat, itself subject to further improvement. After many other refinements, the engineers finally released the unit to production. A good, simple design. It works beautifully. This baton-like affair is a steel rod with a hard rubber ball at each end. Believe it or not, the rubber ball is used to eliminate bounce. Again, eventually, a simple design, the ball rod suspension system is the engineer's unique answer to their own problem. A perfectly balanced machine that needn't be bolted down. And these, of course, are just some of the things George Warren couldn't be expected to know about automatic washers and how they're made.
Carol,
Yeah?
are you sure you gave Mr. Walligan the right number?
Relax. He isn't supposed to call until 6 o'clock. And it's not 6 o'clock.
You're right, Jim. You're right. But now what do I do, Jim? You got all the clothes in? Yep.
And close the lid and set the timer for about 12 minutes.
That's all very true. To a woman, the most important thing is how it looks.
Yes, styling was important to Nancy, sure.
You know, when a thing's engineered right, it's beautifully simple. Simple. That's exactly the point. Appliances? Why, it's the same with furniture, automobiles, houses, anything. If you want to make it easy to live with for a long time, it's got to be made simple. Simple and functional. That's all there is to styling. Well, at least that's what I always say.
And, Mr. Danning, it is easier said than done. How do you go about styling a new automatic washer? As with engineering design, you begin long before the first washer ever goes into production. It is a process of patient deliberation over hundreds of styling ideas. Eventually, you get down to a half-dozen final selections and minute details of form, balance, color, and working requirements. Here, for instance, is a pleasing design. Good form, nice balance, deft use of color. But it was rejected. You'd have to raise a second lid to place your clothes in the tub. Here's another idea, equally attractive at first glance, but chrome trim, like seasoning in food, has narrow limits of tolerance. So, partly because of over-seasoning, and again because raising the whole top seemed unnecessarily cumbersome for women, another rejection. So it goes, with rejections and refinements, measured always against the best interests of the ultimate user, leading at last to the one best styling design. A clean line, simply designed, purely functional beauty, and the long search is over. It is worth the effort because even though the average person, Charlie Danning, for instance, may not know why, he finds it easy to live with for a long time.
Don't you ever inhale?
Go ahead and deal.
And stop gloating.
Never figured to peg out on both of you.
It won't happen again, I assure you.
Wait a minute, Jim. Let this one be on me. Well, I suppose Nancy'd be lost without it now. Without what? Well, that complete laundry outfit.
Oh, yes, I guess you would. Marilyn, too. I guess we all would.
Service is expensive, huh?
Oh.
Does that mean it isn't? Or you don't know?
Both. We haven't needed service yet, but I'm sure Tom Mulligan stands squarely behind everything he sells.
You can say that again. Tom Mulligan handles only the best, and he backs it up with good service. At least that's what I've always heard.
A good name, worthy of friend-to-friend advertising, is a very desirable asset. To be a permanent asset, it must stem directly from the manufacturer and be continuously built into the product. Without effort, it is not easily gained. Without constant vigilance, it is easily lost. At the plant in St. Joseph, Michigan, constant vigilance goes by a simpler name. They call it quality control, and it starts with incoming materials and extends throughout all plant operations. You find quality control in precise laboratory tests made before any quantity shipments of materials are accepted. You find quality control in giant operations that keep in mind the human factor. For safety's sake, all hands must be on the starter buttons before this press will operate. You find quality control in specially designed machines, such as this tangent bender. For greater strength, it forms the automatic washer cabinet from one piece of sheet steel. Then an automatic welding machine, called a stitch welder, completes the one-piece construction. And you find quality control in better ways to do such things as painting. These ingenious automatic paint sprayers lay on an incredibly smooth, even finish through electrical attraction, an entirely new principle. But most of all, you find quality control in specific checkpoints, not only at the finish stage, but at every step of the way. More than 10% of the workers here are quality control inspectors, and you find them checking every part of every machine. Every base plate assembly is checked to make sure the supporting studs are perfectly aligned. In soundproof, quiet rooms, running tests of all moving parts are made. In this instance, the gear case assembly. Every one is tested before it moves on. The heart of the suds return system is the two-way valve. Every one is checked for possible leaks before it moves on. In other quiet rooms along the final assembly line, every completed machine gets final working tests before it is tagged satisfactory. And you'd think then they'd be satisfied. They're not. Every day, accepted machines are pulled off the lines. They're given complete and punishing test runs, just to make sure, again. There's a good reason for all this concern with quality control. How to maintain the flow of mass production and maintain the highest quality standards at the same time is always a problem. But there is only one answer to the problem here. It is supplied by daily reports of quality control. If they should indicate serious trouble, there is a man here with power enough to say, "Stop the lines." Actually, there has never had to be a stoppage of production such as this. Quality control itself is the safeguard. New methods, better equipment, constant checking keep the rhythm of production on a 24-hour beat. A good name, worthy of friend-to-friend advertising, is worth all the effort.
Carol, why aren't you going to water?
Oh, I'm too lazy.
Honestly, if Mother wonders out loud just once more how the men are making out, I'll scream.
I wonder myself.
Well, that's a mighty neat job if I do say so myself. Hey, Jim, won't Nancy be surprised to see this?
More likely amazed, Charlie, amazed.
Oh, I don't know. No more than Claire and Emmy when they find out about your hidden talent for washing clothes.
I've still got our wash to do.
Me too. Say, Charlie, I suppose Emmy, Yes, George, just like Clara, week after week. Why?
Why not? They kind of deserve it. So let's really surprise them both.
You mean the whole works just like this?
What do you think, Jim?
I think you two birds have been stalling your wives long enough. You can afford to give them a real holiday.
Come on.
Nuts.
What's the matter?
Tom Walligan. Suppose he is still there. How do we know that he's prepared to deliver 2 complete laundries at this short notice?
Well, why don't I call him? If he's still there, I'll explain the situation.
Fine.
Please, Mr. Walligan, just a few minutes. Please.
But, Miss Danning, I gotta close up now.
I know you want to leave and everything, but...
Yeah, well, with my wife, I gotta have good reasons for missing dinner.
But I'm sure she will understand.
Line's busy. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah. Yeah? Well. Hey, that means he's still there. Come on, Charlie. Keep calling Jim. Tell him we're on the way. Okay, fellas.
So you can see how important it is to us, Mr. Walligan.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you girls had a very good idea there, but...
Remember the suffering Jets, Mr. Walligan?
They never gave up till they won the women's vote. No sirree.
Talk. I don't know what to say. Say anything. The bougainvillea are
too. My mother has a new trellis in our house.
And Paul Revere riding all night
up and down the countryside, shouting to the people.
The British are coming. The British are coming, and...
Glory be, the British are coming. Okay, kids, you win.
And none of us had the faintest idea. Clara and Emmy are simply delirious. Just imagine George and Charlie taking the notion just like that. Well, what is the matter?
Well, I was checking my theme at breakfast.
Oh, yes. Things. My goodness, Marilyn. You have to put a lot of effort into this.
Mother, you'll just never know.
Neighborhoods. Many of us have experienced that bewildering first day in a new school. And some of us have found ourselves alone and friendless in a strange city. But the one new situation we all face sooner or later is the new job. And that's where we have a real problem of adjustment. Sears understands the problem. And because we want you new employees to feel at home, we have produced this film with the hope that it will make Sears seem a little less strange to you and make you feel more comfortable in your new job.
Sears Roebuck and Company is the largest general merchandiser in the world and one of the largest companies in the United States. It is engaged in distribution, which means bringing goods from the manufacturer to the consumer. From 1886 to 1925, Sears was exclusively a mail-order company, presenting merchandise through the catalog. But today, it is a complex organization, serving the consumer in a great variety of ways. There are more than 700 retail stores in the United States alone, more than 60 in Latin America, more than 30 in Canada, and over 20 in Australia. There are large stores in metropolitan areas and in new suburban communities. And there are smaller stores, providing a real service to the hundreds of rural areas in which they are located. Mail order is a vital part of the company, with 11 giant mail order plants and hundreds of catalog sales offices, the newest approach to catalog selling. Sears' total sales volume from retail stores and the catalog amounts to several $1 billion a year. Yes, Sears is a large and complex company, offering many services, made up of many buildings. And all of this is possible only because of people. Buildings can't be built, customers can't be served without them. Take this building, for example. The materials are here, but without people, everything is at a standstill. It takes more than 200,000 people to keep Sears going. That's a lot of people, working in a lot of different places. Of course, to you, as a Sears employee, Sears won't be hundreds of places. It will be one place, your store, your department. It will be the people you work with, your friends. Sears employees may work in a relatively small part of the operation or at headquarters. Yet no matter where they work, no matter what they do, Sears people everywhere are making a real contribution to their company. Let's see what they're doing in retail. Most Sears people in retail sell in our metropolitan retail stores. Many others do their selling in suburban retail stores. And quite a few work in the smaller retail stores in rural areas. Yes, selling at Sears is important, and we sell thousands of different items. Shoes, for example. Toys. Gasoline. Lingerie. Vitamins, furniture, bicycles, candy, jewelry, records, refrigerators, flowers, hats, Sears people sell in the stores and away from the stores, in customers' homes. Selling is important, but behind each retail sale are many other Sears people who make these sales possible. They select merchandise from stock, deliver it to the stores and to the customer, set up the displays, service the merchandise, and keep the customers satisfied. A large part of our selling is also done in mail order through Sears' silent salesman, the catalog, for over 70 years a familiar sight in millions of American homes. The customer can mail in an order, phone it into a telephone sales office, or select the merchandise from samples with the help of experienced sales personnel at a catalog sales office or at a catalog sales desk in a retail store. Selling through the medium of the catalog page are copywriters who describe the merchandise, artists who illustrate it, typographers who measure for copy space, editors who check for accuracy, and many others. Helping to fill the many thousands of orders received in each mail order plant every day are the people who receive the mail, open the envelopes, check the contents, and record the money received with each order. Others type the necessary information to make order filling easier, sort the orders before recording them on customer record cards, and schedule each order for prompt delivery to the customer. These orders are sent to the merchandise departments, where people sort them again, select the merchandise from the shelves, and send it to the shipping room. where other people pack it. Weigh it. Bill it. And ship it to the customer. But before we can sell, either through retail or through mail order, we must have the merchandise itself. Superior merchandise, priced competitively. This brings us to Sears headquarters in Chicago, parent to the Sears family. Here at Parent, the merchandising departments are responsible for the creating, buying, and selling of all Sears merchandise, retail and mail order alike. The many hundreds of buyers and assistant buyers work closely with their sources in the development of new merchandise. The buyers also work with Sears' own testing laboratory, one of whose primary jobs is to make sure that Sears merchandise measures up to rigid specifications. Here, skilled laboratory technicians test fabrics for sun fastness, packages for rugged construction, ovens for efficiency. Other experts test many items in the field: paint for weather resistance, tires for endurance, outboard motors for performance. Few pieces of Sears merchandise escape this careful testing. But all Sears activities must be coordinated, and this is done by still other people. People in the general merchandise office, people in the accounting department, in credit, in insurance, people in the public relations department who discharge Sears' responsibility to the public, people in the personnel department who find the right person for the right job, people in the factory management department who help Sears manufacturers solve their problems, people in the legal department who handle Sears legal problems, people in the foreign department who supervise the activities of Sears stores abroad. Each of these departments is headed by an officer of the company. Sears officers and directors know from long experience that the company's greatest asset is its people, whether they are photographers, waitresses, carpet cutters, elevator operators, secretaries, freight handlers, maintenance people, or airplane pilots. These people and thousands of others have made a place for themselves at Sears, for a company like Sears needs many abilities to carry on its many activities. Without people, merchandise can't be developed or delivered or displayed or sold. This is why Sears has such a deep sense of responsibility to all its people, on the job and off. Good pay, a discount when you buy from Sears, holidays and vacations with pay, these things we take for granted, of course. Just as we do illness and hospital insurance, and time off with pay for special occasions, like getting married. But other Sears benefits provide real protection in cases of emergency. Should this little guy become seriously ill, for example, Sears catastrophe insurance will greatly reduce his family's medical expenses. You may not like to think of illness or of death, but Sears Group Life Insurance provides your family with unusually good protection. And if you're looking ahead to owning your own home or towards retirement, Sears Savings and Profit-Sharing Pension Plan will help assure you a comfortable future. Through the profit-sharing fund and individual ownership, your fellow employees own well over 1/4 of the company's stock. In a recent year, the company contributed more than $36 million to the fund. And speaking of futures, naturally you're interested in the future of Sears. For your own future is part of the future of your company. So let's take a look at Sears' future. Our population is constantly increasing. There are more people buying more and more goods, all of which makes our economy grow. Sears is a part of this growth. During the past 10 years, Many hundreds of stores and catalog sales offices have been opened in this country alone, and our sales have increased by $1 billion. As long as the people of Sears do their jobs, and do them well, we will continue to grow as we have in the past. Sears growth means your growth. For every new unit that opens its doors, many jobs are waiting to be filled. These jobs give people experience and training. And our policy of promotion from within the company means that as employees are promoted, other Sears people move up to take their places. Promotion at Sears is a continuous thing. One of these days, it may well be your turn to move up that promotion ladder.
We hope we've succeeded in making Sears a little less strange to you. For basically, Sears is people, just like yourself, just like myself, who start out new and perhaps uncertain and find their opportunities here at Sears. So make yourself at home. You're one of us now, and we're glad to have you.